welcome to a brand new Mind Mastery video. Today I'm going to try to address a question of how can we think about our thinking, or in other words, how can we use a cognitive skill called metacognition. So metacognition is about kind of stepping out of our current train of thoughts or current way of expressing our thoughts. So basically, if I want to use metacognition, I'm going to pause talking in this video now, and I'm going to try to reflect on what am I talking about and where am I going with all these words, all these communications. So metacognition is obviously quite an important skill, and it's crucial to building our self-awareness, building our understanding of ourselves, developing the ways we think about certain things, developing ways of thinking about ourselves, about our people, and most importantly, metacognition is about learning. So in order to learn something, you need to be able to reflect on how you're learning and what sort of things come into your awareness and how can you use these things to further your learning, to further your development. So this concept is strongly associated with learning actually, because if we are not able to reflect on our experience, or if we're not able to reflect on our past mistakes, then, learning can be quite difficult. Learning can be quite, even maybe impossible, because if you blindly accept everything that's happening to you without questioning, without trying to look at it from a different perspective, then, it's quite difficult to learn anything. And instead of learning, you will be simply assimilating knowledge without being able to apply it in the real life. So metacognition is obviously about learning, but it's also about developing ourselves, developing our personality, because if you know how to apply, or rather, if you know how to use metacognition in specific situations, for example, when communicating with other people, when expressing yourself, when dealing with novel situations, if you know how to use metacognition in these situations, then it's going to be much easier to adapt, to learn new things, and simply to move forward, to gain new skills and gain new experiences. So in this video, I'm going to be focusing more on this personal stuff that we can apply metacognition towards, rather than this learning theories, which usually metacognition is associated with. So how can we start building a habit of using the metacognition on a regular basis if you're not doing this already? Because I think that many people can actually use it. Many people actually use it because I think it's a skill that's, that makes us human. It represents this ability of higher order thinking, where we are able to, step back and look at our current situation from a different perspective or from a broader perspective. But at the same time, even if each person has this skill, it doesn't mean that we always know when to apply it, because sometimes it's difficult. So in other words, there might be certain obstacles to using this skill, to using this cognitive skill of metacognition, because when you get pulled into your train of thoughts or self-expression, you might believe that everything that you think is right, all your beliefs are right, everything that you observe is correct, and all your conclusions that you draw from these observations are correct as well. So if you would continue doing that, if you embrace simply this approach of, okay, everything that I see is right, everything that I believe is right, everything that I assimilate is right, I don't think it's a very beneficial approach to learning, because there's not enough room for improvement, and there's not enough room for gaining new information, especially if some of your observations or conclusions are wrong. This kind of leads us to an idea that metacognition requires of us to be able to, give up our ego for some time at least, give up our self-importance, and being able to admit that, okay, I might be wrong, I might be completely wrong, but in order to understand whether I'm right or wrong, I need to be able to detach myself from my self-importance, from my ego that tells me that, okay, I'm trying really hard to understand everything, but wait a minute, maybe you are missing something out. Maybe there's something that you got attached yourself towards, such as a belief, an attitude, which prevents you from seeing the bigger picture. So that's where the metacognition comes in, where you detach yourself from this current mindset that you're in, and you detach yourself from these feelings of self-importance and self-esteem, ego, and whatever else that we could associate with this kind of coherent mindset that our ego is trying to keep ourselves in. Using metacognition in that context will be to simply step back and look at how this coherent sense of self, sense of system of belief that we are having, system of attitudes, how is it working in this particular moment? Another important skill, a part of this ability of detaching ourselves from this current context or current mindset that we are in, is the ability to reflect. Reflection is about being able to consider things from many different perspectives. Reflection could be about evaluating what we have done, what we have said, and whether the conclusions are that we derived are correct or not. And reflection could be also about connecting different ideas, bouncing different ideas from each other, disconnecting these ideas, creating something new. So basically, being able to sit down, look at our past experience or current experience for that matter, and look at it from as many different perspectives as we can. At least that's my experience of reflection. But perhaps other people reflect in a different way. So as we can see here, metacognition and reflection are quite connected, to be honest. Because in order to fully reap the benefits of using metacognition, you need to be able to sit down and reflect. Reflection is not just about sitting down and allowing random thoughts to come to your mind, which could be useful as well. But reflection is usually specific and directed towards a specific outcome. So if I want to reflect on, for example, the subject of this video, which is the metacognition, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to think about what metacognition means to me, what metacognition could mean to other people from seeing from this broader perspective. I could also start analyzing how I'm using metacognition in my personal life or my professional life, or I could also start reflecting on how could I improve my metacognition. So I'll start reviewing my past experiences. So this part of reflection is an important element of metacognition because it allows you to not only step back and see the bigger picture, but actually organize this data, organize these metacognitions into specific categories, into specific goals and outcomes that you want to achieve in that particular moment. So that leads us to the final element of metacognition, which I find quite important in using this cognitive skill, is this ability to organize and direct our thoughts into a specific direction. On the one hand, metacognition is just about looking at the context from this broader perspective, but then why do we do it? What's the meaning of it? Where is it leading you? Are you just detaching yourself? Are you just using metacognition to detach yourself from your present experience, which might not be always beneficial, because if you constantly detach yourself from the present moment, you're not going to be very engaged in your experience. So you need to know the reason why you want to use metacognition. What's the purpose of the skill? Where is it leading you? And knowing this will enable you to use metacognition at the right time. So, if you start using it randomly or if you start overusing it, it might prevent you from gaining the experience itself. So, in other words, there is a time for gaining new experiences by being engaged in the present moment, but there's also a time for being engaged in the reflection and using metacognition skills in order to reflect on different patterns of your speech, of your thinking, of your behavior. So in a short summary, we could see that metacognition could be comparable to mindfulness in a sense, because once you are mindful, you are able to be in this present moment, but perhaps in a more detached way, without going along with every single thought that comes to your mind, or going along with every single thing that other people are telling you. When you use mindfulness, you can develop actually this metacognition skills because it allows you to create this detachment between yourself and this point of awareness that you're having in your mind, and whatever content comes to your mind, whatever content is available to you in front of you in the form of other people talking, or you talking, or you expressing yourself in any other way. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.